Hello and welcome to another recipe, another midday recipe here in my kitchen. So, what are we making today? So this week is hummus week. Hummus week has been so good so far. Now, as you guys know, I will get your comments up on here. That's for everybody who's watching on Facebook, because we also have people watching on Instagram today, which is a new thing for us. So let me just make sure that I have got all your comments here and I'm the right way round and that type of thing. So welcome to anybody who is new on Instagram joining us and anybody who is new on Facebook joining us. So you guys can ask me questions. That is the beauty of these lives. So all week we have been giving you guys some hummus recipes. The reason why is because on Wednesday, yesterday, it was International Hummus Day. But we decided that we're vegan. We're not going to just celebrate hummus on one day. So we've been celebrating hummus all week from Tuesday through to Sunday. So this will be my second recipe based on hummus that I'm going to show you guys. So let me just get the live up here and then I can see who is with us. Please do say hello. Oh, we've already got someone saying hi, Karuna. Karuna, lovely name, lovely name. Yes, so please do say hello. Let us know where you're from as well. That's always a nice thing to do. And interject with any questions that you have for me. So you guys can ask me questions such as, you know, if you want to make a substitution. We had quite a lot of questions about omitting the oil from hummus the other day and also omitting things like the tahini as well. So we can give you substitutions for that. Okay, so we've got a few people in our Facebook group already. This is on our Facebook page. So for anybody who's watching on Instagram, this also goes up on our Facebook page. And we've got loads of recipes that we've been doing for the last, I think, 6 weeks now. Yeah, a really long time. So let me just see who is in the room. So we've got Johnny who says, hummus, absolutely. Colleen says, good morning, Colleen. She is our expert rainbow spotter. And for anybody who's watching on Instagram, I will let you know what happens with rainbows on this show in a moment. Amandine, hello. The ducker was delicious. Okay, so the other day I made a perfect hummus. Okay, so it's perfect to my mind. Hummus is a very subjective thing, but in my mind it was perfect hummus with ducker. So you can check out that recipe. Sarah, hello, good morning. We have a great recipe for you, Sarah, today because there's no oil in it. How amazing is that? I was thinking of you when I was developing this recipe. Jeff, thank you for joining me. I'm sure you should be working right now. Johnny, hello. It says 3 other people joined. I don't know who they are, but welcome. Mercedes, thank you for joining us again. Sarah, Amandine. Okay, so Amandine has already tried to guess what is at the end of our rainbow. Every day we have a rainbow in our kitchen and it is along here. So I'm going to have to like bring it into shot so that the guys on Instagram can actually see. So let me bring it over the board. So here is our rainbow and there is always something at the end of it. So you have to see if you can figure out what this is at the end of our rainbow. So you guys on Instagram only get a quick flash of it. I'm sorry, it's going to have to go back over there so that you can actually see me doing a recipe, which is kind of the idea of this. So we'll pop that back over there. Amandine guessed that there is a chick and a feather under the rainbow. Very close, Amandine, but not quite. Justine said, hello, I'm currently trying to make the Madeira cake. Where did you get the small ingredient pots you use? I always end up with tons of bowls. So I've got some really nice little pinch pots. Justine is talking about the online course that she's doing with us and the lovely Madeira cake, which is absolutely divine. And I use lots of these little pinch pots and they are just over here. So I always end up with quite a nice selection because, you know, we do all these videos and stuff like that and you do need a lot of pinch pots. So I think this is the one that you're talking about, Justine. This is actually made by a company called Iittala, I-I-T-T-A-L-A. So I'll hold that up and see if you can see that. These guys have really lovely cups and mugs and stuff like that. So it's I-I-T-T-A-L-A. But yes, I do end up like collecting like lovely things like this. I absolutely love. That was a tip from TK Maxx, by the way, just in case you wanted to know. Colleen said it's a chickpea. Yes, you got it, Colleen. Colleen is our expert rainbow spotter. To all of you guys who are new on Instagram. Karuna, yes, they're lovely pinch pots, and Colleen is really, really good. So she's quick off the mark. Like as soon as she gets in the room, she's like, "Where's the rainbow? Where's the rainbow? What's underneath it?" I have to guess immediately, and 9 times out of 10, she guesses before anyone else. Okay, so underneath our rainbow today is a chick. Here we go, and peas, chickpeas. See what I did there? Chickpeas. Okay, well, it makes me laugh. Karen, thank you for joining us again. Jeff said, spoiler alert, these are lovely. He means the cookies, by the way. Yes, they are. I made some yesterday, and these cookies the cookies that I made yesterday were going to be here's one I made earlier. And we ate all of them. So I had to make another batch this morning as a here's one I made earlier. And now we'll make the fresh batch together. So we'll have a lot of cookies in our house, which is great. They're really, really healthy as well. So, I feel comfortable eating them. Johnny, is it a chick and a pea pod under the rainbow? Yes, it is, but you weren't quick enough. Denise, good morning, Chef Dave from Savannah. And yes. You're the lovely lady that lives in those lovely places. Sarah said, glad to hear. I think she's talking about the fact that this doesn't have any refined oil in it, because at the moment Sarah isn't having any refined oil. So it does have other oils, particularly from the tahini, but no refined oil. So let me see. Sarah says, I have made chickpeas cookies, which I love. Good. And tahini cookies, which are great too, but not with both. So definitely trying this. So they will be both in this recipe. Okay, right. I think we've all guessed now what's at the end of our rainbow tour. Says, good afternoon, Chef Dave. Love hummus and love cookies. And then we're putting them together. Always a good thing. Jenny, Gloria, and Helen. Everyone's here. Everyone wants to learn how to make these cookies. So Alex said, cookie with cumin. Very curious. Love oil-free recipes. Can never get the crunchy, chewy bite I want from flapjacks, tray bakes, or cookies without it, sadly. So any tips would be appreciated. This is perfect for you then, really, really perfect for you, because they're crunchy on the outside and soft in the middle, and they turn a really lovely golden colour. And Tanya said, hi Dave from Dublin, thank you for joining us. Barb said, any gluten-free option? This is gluten-free. I'm gluten-free, so all of my recipes are gluten-free. In fact, all of the recipes that we put out there with the Vegan Chef School are gluten-free. We do now give the gluten options when somebody buys a course with us, just in case somebody wants that option. Barb says it has oats, so not gluten-free. Okay, so this is, I think, one of the issues that we've come up against with maybe people who live in the States. So where do you live, Barb? Because in the UK we can get gluten-free oats, because actually oats in their natural state as they are, they don't have any gluten in them, apparently. Now, I know somebody, maybe somebody who's watching today as well, mentioned that they had a chat with maybe the CEDAC Association in America, and they said that in America, it's very, very hard. Oh, Australia. Okay. I'm not sure whether this goes for Australia as well, Barb, but you have to look into it. That in America, the oats still have some traces of gluten in them. So there is that to look out for. But yeah, we're very, very lucky in the fact that in the UK, gluten-free oats are like a big thing. They're like a really, really big thing, and they're relatively cheap as well, which is great. Nikki, thank you for joining us. So Nikki is one of our other chefs, so she will be on tomorrow with another hummus-based recipe. And Karuna said, in India we don't get gluten-free oats easily. I know, it is really, really tricky in some countries. The gluten-free oats that we are using today, Nikki, you're on Facebook as well. You do. You're simulcasting like I am. Barb said differing opinions, so I avoid them to be safe. Okay, so what I would say in this recipe is that you could swap out the oats for, and if you can get hold of them, quinoa flakes or millet flakes. So I don't know if they're any easier for you to get hold of, but they can also be completely gluten-free as well, because actually in their essence, in their actual state, when they haven't been made in a factory or produced in a factory that also contains flour and wheat and all that sort of stuff, then they are gluten-free. So do try the quinoa flakes. Now that is going to give it more of a quinoa flavour, it's that spicy pepperiness that we get from quinoa. So that can be in there if you use quinoa flakes, so just be aware of that. But it might be something you might be something you don't like. Or millet flakes. Millet flakes don't really have much flavour, but they're a great bulking agent, so it would be perfect for this recipe. Okay, let me take a sip of tea. Oh, Barb, you've got quinoa flakes. Good. Sorry, I have to have a cup of tea today. It's cold. It's cold. How did this happen? Oh, Karuna said millet is easily available. Okay, so Karuna, in India, can you get millet flakes, or is it just actual millet that you can get? Okay, so deep breath. On to today's recipe. We will be making some hummus cookies. So I have tried to go along with the hummus recipe as much as I can. I just have like a one or two deviations and make this into a sweet dish, but a healthy one as well, because of course, as you know, oh sorry, we've got a question here. Oh, what is a capital T on the board? And thank you for answering, Nikki. Yep, capital T is tablespoon, lowercase is teaspoon. Absolutely. Erin, good morning. We haven't even started yet. You know me, I'm still talking about food, so we're just about to get into it. So this is a hummus cookie recipe. Now I did decide to include cumin because I actually thought it was a really good opportunity for you guys to see how spices aren't necessarily savory or sweet. They can be either. In our minds, we usually associate certain spices with sweet and certain spices with savory, usually because we've grown up with dishes that use them, so we may have grown up with apple crumbles that use cinnamon, so we will associate that with sweet food. And we may have grown up with, maybe like a curry with cumin in it, and therefore we associate it with savory food. But they're not one or the other, really. So we can change them around and use spices that we would normally associate with sweet and savory, and vice versa. Karuna said, we get millet flour flakes and whole form too. Okay, that's great. So Karuna is in India and said that it was difficult to get hold of gluten-free oats. So we suggested millet flakes. Millet flakes would be perfect for this, which is available. Wonderful. Could you add any recipe for butter beans, please? Well, I do love a good butter bean. Was there any in particular that you were thinking of? So that's Inna. Any recipe in particular? Or was it a butter bean hummus? Okay, so with the spices, this is a great one to add some savoury spice that we would normally think of as savoury to something that's sweet. Right, okay, on to the recipe. So we have 100 grams of chickpeas here. These are just canned, so they're already cooked, and we can just pop them into our dish. I have, of course, saved the aquafaba. The precious aquafaba is now in my freezer. I tend to freeze these things a lot, so if I open a can of chickpeas and I'm not going to use the chickpeas, I put the chickpeas in the freezer. They freeze really well. And vice versa, if I'm going to use the chickpeas but not the aquafaba, I put the aquafaba into the freezer. Carrie said, what? Hummus cookies? Yep, hummus cookies. Sarah, Nikki did hummus with butter beans, if I remember correctly. Yes, she did. Yes, thank you for remembering that for me. Nikki did, maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. Nikki's recipe was a butter bean hummus. Okay, so we have 100 grams of chickpeas here, and we just need to add some of our lemon zest. So I have a lovely microplane here. If you guys know any vegan foodies, this is a great birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah present for them. It's a microplane. So great for zesting, also great for grating things like ginger and garlic as well. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the lemon zest in there. Yesterday when I made them, I put in the whole thing, and it was really nice, but it might be a bit too bitter for you guys, or sour. As you guys will know who are regulars, I really love sour food and bitter foods. I don't know why, but my body just craves it. And so I put in all of this last night, but I'm just going to put in like half of it now. There we go. And we are going to put the zest in rather than the juice, because I don't want to mess around with the texture of this. We want it to be quite gloopy and firm. I don't want it to be liquidy, so therefore I don't use the juice, I just use zest. But there's loads and loads of flavour in the zest, absolutely tons, so that's all we need. So just pop that to one side. And we have a comment here from Johnny. How do you freeze the aquafaba? Ice cube trays are all together. It depends. You can do it in ice cube trays, but if you live with other people, then just make sure that they know that the ice cube trays are full of aquafaba, because you don't want that in your gin and tonic. So you can do it in ice cube trays, or you can do it just in one lump, which is, yeah, usually what I'm doing at the moment. But it doesn't really matter which way you want to do it. You know, it's completely up to you. If you do freeze it in one lump, then with the aquafaba, just put it into a pan of hot water and just let it melt, and then you can use it, or just leave it out on the side. Depends if you're in a rush or not. I'm always in a rush. Colleen, how do you rinse the chickpeas? So I keep them in the can. I open it, I let all the aquafaba come out, and then I kind of rinse them about in the pan. But I must say that the chickpeas that I use, the aquafaba doesn't have loads of salt in it. So that's just like, you know, so that doesn't really matter to me very much. But if the aquafaba is quite salty, which some of it can be, then give it a really good rinse. Sarah said, I decided to cook along. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Sarah said, can it be any type of dates? Yes, it can. Now, with these dates that I have here, I've actually soaked them in some hot water. And that's because they were just a bit firmer than the medjool dates. So you can use medjool dates, and then they'll blend down really well. These ones just needed soaking in a bit of warm water, but only for about 5-10 minutes. So Anne said that she has no sound for some reason. Must be something on my side, as no one else has mentioned it. Yes, absolutely. Everyone has sound. So I hope you figure that out soon. Inna, I have a lot of butter beans and I have no idea what to do with them. When comes to the recipe, nothing really particular. Yes, I know a really lovely butter bean recipe that a very small, very adorable Middle Eastern lady taught me, which is amazing, and it's so simple. So I will definitely put that on the list. Erin said in gin and tonic, that would be a great surprise. Absolutely. Okay, right. So we have our chickpeas in here and then our lemon zest, and we're just going to put a pinch of cumin in it. You don't need a huge amount, especially when you're using a brand like this, which is our East End brand. So maybe about 1/4 teaspoon in there. This is strong though. If your ground cumin has been sitting in your cupboard for years on end, which I know sometimes it does, then you might need to add a little bit more because it's not going to be as strong as this stuff. Okay, so we've got our cumin in here and now our tahini. I'm going to put quite a lot of tahini in this because I really love the flavour of it. And also this is a really good ingredient to also play around with sweet stuff. So we'll pop 2 tablespoons in here because again, tahini, we might normally associate it with something savoury, usually hummus, but in parts of the world it's used for sweet things as well. So 2 tablespoons of tahini in there. There we go. So if you're not as keen on the tahini flavour, then just dial that down a bit. We'll pop that over there. Oh, Anne has sound. Good. Okay. Oh, Nikki says that she makes gin sour cocktails with aquafaba. Okay, we need a recipe from you for that. So you can do that as one of your lives one day, Nikki. Nikki does aquafaba cocktails. Sounds like a plan to me. Okay, so we've got our tahini in here now, and we will just give that a quick blend before we put anything else in. Just be kind to our hand blender and it will be able to cope with this. Oh, Vegan Deacon, hello, hello, thank you for commenting. And hello to everybody else who is on Instagram. This is our first time on Instagram live, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Michelle said, can you substitute the tahini? Yes, you can just omit it if you want to, that's absolutely fine, or you could put something like cashew butter in it, which would be really, really lovely, or almond butter would go really, really well. So let's just give this a quick blend. Sarah said, are you blending dates and cumin with chickpeas? No, so at the moment, all I've got in there is the chickpeas, the lemon zest and the cumin, and that's it. And Antoni and Katie, thank you for joining us. Johnny said, halva, the second best food involving sesame tahini, and so sweet and tasty. Yeah, absolutely. Halva is a really, really good example. Thanks for pointing that out, Johnny. So when I'm blending this, I am really, really blending it because I do want this to be a paste rather than keeping it chunky. You can blend in something like this. And if you blend in something like this, then it means that it's going to be keeping all of the mixture in this more kind of like central place, really. So you're not going to have to move around in the same way that I'm having to move around with this bowl. It's just that I wanted to use this bowl so that you guys could see more. Oh, thank you for like the hellos and the high fives. Right, okay, so just blending this. And as I said, moving it around. Alex said, I have peanut butter fit powder. Are these useless for cooking because lower in fat? No, I don't think that they'd be useful. I think you can definitely cook with it. Absolutely. In fact, there was a recipe that we were doing a few weeks ago where someone mentioned that that would be a really good addition to it. And actually, Nikki, was it in one of your shows? Sorry, I have the worst memory. So Nikki will have to help me out on that. Okay, so we've got our chickpeas, lemon zest, and our pinch of cumin here. We've got our dates, but I am going to get rid of this water. So this is a really, really good way to use cheap dates rather than medjool dates. So you will see in so many raw food recipes, they say medjool dates. Sometimes medjool dates are really expensive and you just don't want to spend that money. So you can buy these cheaper dates and then just soak them in some hot water for about 10 minutes and then they will be as soft and as sweet as medjool dates. And as you're blending them, it doesn't really matter that you're not using medjool dates. They will taste exactly the same as if you used medjool. Daniel said, gonna need a bigger recipe board. And Des, thank you for joining us. Hello. Okay, so now we've got the dates in there and we will blend it. We don't really need to blend it until they are completely blitzed and, you know, we can't see any bits. It's okay if you can see bits because when we blend dates into stuff like this, if there are these like little chips, then they're a bit like chocolate chips, but they're like date chips inside our cookies, which is lovely. Karuna, can we blend it in a mixer instead of a hand blender? So a food processor would probably be able to deal with this. Better to use one that has one of those like small bowls on it because this isn't a huge amount. We're only making like between 8 to 10 small cookies, something like that. If your food processor is big and it struggles with this small amount, you're going to have to make more cookies. Sorry. I know that's going to be a struggle, right? So now we can blend the dates in with this. Okay, there we go. That is blended enough and we can get rid of that horrible sound. Okay, so Nikki, thank you for coming up with some suggestions for Alex. Gloria's and Majul are lovely. They are absolutely lovely. A really, really great healthy snack if you just kind of like get a bit peckish. And also what I found is that when I get tired when I'm working, but I've got more to do, if I have a coffee and a Majul date, then I am like on it. It gives me loads of energy. If I have those two together, they're like this magic combination. So we've got this paste here, which is lovely and tasty, but it's pasty. And we don't want these cookies to just be like one homogeneous thing at all. We want them to have a bit more texture to them, and that will mean that they're a bit more crumbly and a bit more cookie-like. Okay, so we will be adding some oats. So these are oats that are grown in the UK, packaged in the UK, and sent to me in the UK. How amazing is that? So this is from a company called Hummus. I use them an awful lot. I use them for gluten-free flours as well. And they really just, they sprung up because they were able to grow these amazing crops in the UK, come up with strains that didn't need so much processing. So their quinoa, for example, it doesn't go through the same chemical processing that a lot of quinoa goes through, because they developed a strain that it didn't need to go through the chemical processing to get rid of the bitterness. So I absolutely love what they do. Really, really great customer service. I have on my Christmas list to Santa one of their mock mills. So they actually sell these mills where you can put grains, beans in it, whatever, and out the other side comes flour. How amazing is that? How amazing is that? So one day, if I've been good this year, Santa might get it for me. So do check them out. That's Hodmidods. If I think Ingrid's on today as the admin. So Ingrid, if you could put in a link to Hodmidods, that would be really, really great. So we've got 50 grams of oats here, which we'll just add to here. And then it might need a little bit more sweetness. It might not, you might be okay with it as it is, but if you want a little bit more sweetness, then add 1 tablespoon of syrup. You can add date syrup. I tried date syrup as well, which worked really, really well and made them slightly darker too. So when we use oats in any kind of baked recipe, it gives a really, really lovely colour to it. One of the issues with gluten-free baking can be that sometimes the result is something that just looks quite pale, doesn't look browned at all, doesn't look golden brown. It's kind of like anemic looking. And actually, food, especially baked goods, it needs the Maillard reaction. So the Maillard reaction it's a caramelization process where that happens with heat, and it makes things brown, it makes things golden brown. So if you think of like the way that toast goes, or the way when you're baking bread that top crust will be brown, well, that sends messages to our brain saying that's yummy, that's a yummy thing. So same thing like with melted cheese, like with melted vegan cheese, we need to have that browning in order for us to really think that it's yummy. And oat flour or oats are really, really good at that. So I not only use oats in this way, but I also grind them. So I've got a NutriBullet. Well, Jeff's got a NutriBullet that I mainly use often. And I grind the oats into flour. Oat flour in the UK is really, really expensive, and usually it's shipped from abroad. Usually you get it from, I think, Bob's Mills. So that's a big brand in America of gluten-free flours, and then it's shipped over here. But instead I use the oats that I get from Hodmidods, and then I put them into a NutriBullet, and that does the job really, really well. The mock mill would do it better. It would do it better. So one day I'll get one. Okay, thank you for sharing that, Johnny. That's great of you. So he shared the link to Hodmidods. Colleen said, did you grind the oats or leave them whole? I left them whole. Because I want that texture in it. So we don't need to grind them. And these oats they're kind of more like porridge oats. So they're not the type of oats that I would put in a flapjack. So the type of oats I would put in a flapjack are more like those like old-fashioned oats. That's mainly what they're known as. And they're bigger, they're firmer, but these are more like porridge oats. So Anna, what syrup are you using today? So I'm using this Sweet Freedom, which is a fruit syrup, but you can use any syrup that you feel comfortable using. So as I said, I used date syrup, worked really well. You could even use pomegranate syrup. That would be good. That would be good. Agave, you know, any type of syrup that you want to use. But as I said, you don't have to use it if you don't feel comfortable using it. Daniel said the Maillard reaction. Exactly. Tom, thank you for joining us. Johnny said, did you used to have a mill? I swear I've seen one before. I used to have like a manual one. You know, it was this big kind of like contraption. But unfortunately it broke. It broke. But you know, it was 13 quid from eBay. Like, what do you expect? What do you expect? Okay, so now we've got our mixture and we can just start rolling it. So if you want really, really small ones, use a small spoon. If you want bigger ones like this, then use this type of spoon. If you want even bigger ones, then use a big spoon. Use the spoon to guide how much you're taking out of the bowl. Quite often we get frustrated because we just like pick up chunks of it from the bowl and then none of them are the same size. That might not be an issue for you, I will admit, but me and how perfectionist I am, it is an issue for me. Okay, so Justine said, I'm cooking this recipe now. Lots of cooking today, constantly cleaning the kitchen. Good, good, good. Anna, pomegranate was exactly what I was hoping. I bought it after your cauliflower leaves live. Thank you. No problem. If you do use pomegranate syrup in this recipe, then it is going to add a bit of sourness, so just do bear that in mind. But if you like that, that's absolutely fine. Alex said chocolate shop would make chocolate cookies. Yes, exactly. Johnny, ladle it. This is for me then. Tom said counselling is available regarding sizes. I'm quite happy with how perfectionist I am with my cooking. Right, okay, so a word on rolling. When we are rolling cookies, burgers, anything like that, we need an open hand. You see, we have an open hand. I'm not really pressing down. I'm just using this part to roll it around gently, and it will form into a nice shape like that. It looks like one of those twiddly things that they use in, what is it, in what's that film with Leonardo DiCaprio? Inception. It looks like one of those, but like it's a cookie. Anyway, right, so you get to that stage and then we want to just like press it down. There we go. Press it down. Oh, sorry, Gloria, I don't have tahini or I'd have a go. And Daniel, thank you for replying. It was said you can omit it. You do need to replace it with something. A nut butter would be absolutely perfect. Ah, a spinning top, old girl. Thanks for calling me old there, Tom. So I have made that spinning top and then I pressed it firmly down. Now with some mixtures, you might get some splitting around the edge, which is a little bit irksome, but with this, you don't. You get a really lovely round edge. There we go. So we can just do that with all of our mixture. And as I said, it makes about between 8 and 10. So this is a good time to practice making things into rounds, because quite often this is something that we do, whether it's burgers or you know, any type of patty. But this is like a really good consistency because it's not going to fall apart. There we go. Okay, and you will make an absolute mess of your hands with this, so it's a great one for kids. Really great one for kids. Just make sure that you actually wash their hands properly before they go touching things. Inner, you can find any kind of flour from oat to rye and rice in every Polish shop all over the UK for a reasonable price. Okay, that's where I'm going to. Now, once this is all over, I'm definitely heading to a Polish shop. Okay, let me just wash my hands. Is it okay to wet hands to roll them? Absolutely. Yeah, if you're doing anything like this, you know, you can just like dip your hands in some water. Make sure they're not too wet. So maybe just wet them and then do that, and then you'll be fine, and then you can roll them. So once you have made 8 to 10, whatever, however much, use up however much dough you have, then you can pop them into the oven. The oven temperature is 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or gas mark 4. So that's 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, gas mark 4, and you will need to cook them for around 20 to 25 minutes. Now, let me just wash my hands, and then I will show you some that I made earlier. Chat amongst yourselves. Yuck. There we go. Okay, Tom said, proud of you, Dame, being magnificent as ever. Oh, thank you for dropping in. Denise, do you now call them cookies in the UK? To be honest, I think now we do. I think that word has just like come over. It's not biscuits anymore. Although I would say that these are definitely cookies because they are kind of softer. Really, they're not so kind of crunchy. I think that a biscuit has more of a crunch to it. Lisa says, sounds delicious with the dates. Good, good, good. Justine, I still have whole chickpeas. Oops. Will add to texture. That if you got one or two, like, okay, if you've got a few, not just one or two, Justine, that will be fine. But it might just make moulding them a bit more difficult. So with anything like this, if there are big bits in it, that is going to make moulding them more difficult, and it might mean that they might come apart a bit more. So you just have to be a bit more gentle with them, basically. Okay, so one thing that I forgot to show you is that I just for the sake of it being pretty, I used the side of a spoon and just pressed into it. There we go, just to make a little cross. Only just to make them look a bit prettier, a bit less kind of boring on the top. There we go. So just a little cross, kind of across at an angle. So rather than that, we're not trying to fend off vampires, more like that size, that shape. Okay, so now you bake them for about 20-25 minutes until they're really golden, and they will really change to this beautiful, beautiful colour. I will bring one right up to the camera in a moment so that you can see. Johnny said, I've only just worked out how to reply and react to comments on a live. Feeling old now, but you've been doing it all along. Okay, Lisa said, so not using chickpeas with chickpea flour? No, we're just using actual chickpeas, trying to make this recipe as similar to the hummus recipe as we possibly can. Karuna says on Instagram, says, looks yum. Good, good, good. I really, really hope that you make this. Can you show the cookies? They look nice. Yes, absolutely. Let me bring them closer up to the camera. Okay. Now, there we go for people who are on Instagram. There we go. You can see. And now, all on my Facebook, guys. Yum. Really, really, really nice colour on these. So they will be firm on the outside and soft in the middle, which is absolutely divine. Really, really nice. And you can see the bottoms go really golden brown as well. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this recipe. I absolutely adore this recipe. It's really, really easy. It's only a few ingredients. Nothing that's really that difficult to get hold of either. A great way to have added nutrition in your diet, but a tasty snack, you know, so it feels like a treat, but it's really, really healthy. So Vegan Deacon, they remind me of your hot cross buns. Yes, absolutely. I was thinking that. I was absolutely thinking that. Karina, so gonna try them for sure. So yum looking. So guys, please do, if you try this recipe or any of our others, take photos of it. It's absolutely fine if like you've half eaten it and then you remember, oh yeah, I was meant to be taking a photo of it. That's fine. We'll accept it. We'll accept it. And actually, it's a real compliment if that happens. And you can either share it for Instagram people, you can share it on Instagram and tag us. Or for Facebook people, you can share your pictures in our community hub. So that is our group. Lots of people have been sharing their photos of their yummy recipes. And also the recipes that they've been making from our online courses as well. So it's great to see their progress and see what they've been creating in their kitchen. Ina said yummy. Amandine says the oven is on, so she's definitely making them. Glory said unfortunately I'll probably not resist eating them all. Exactly what happened last night. Erin said I've never been successful with vegan baking, hoping these are yummy. Okay, so I would really like to know kind of like why. So do send me a private message and let me know like what actually happened, and then we can see if we can help you with that. It may just be that the recipes that you were using weren't that good, or if they're from a different country, then sometimes like the ingredients that we get aren't quite the same, and so things can go a bit awry. But hopefully with a recipe like this, like the ingredients like are fairly standard wherever you get them from in the world. So, any more questions? Catherine said they look so delicious. And Denise said this is a wonderful and easy recipe. Exactly. So with our lives, we are really trying to share with you recipes that are simple but effective. Simple but effective. We don't want you guys to spend hours and hours and hours in the kitchen making a plate of cookies. Although I would do that, but I know that most people wouldn't. So they do have to be simple and effective. Justine said, me too, but I can make Chef Day's ones. What's that about? I only remember to take the photo after I've eaten it. Yep, absolutely. Alex said they look amazing. I have 2 huge bags of dried chickpeas. We'll have to wait for the damn thing to soak first. Yes, I know. That is one of the annoying things with dried chickpeas. But then do remember to save that aquafaba, and we'll do some aquafaba recipes together. So just a reminder that tomorrow is Nikki's show. I think that Nikki is making a hummus ramen recipe. So we're really showing... pardon me, we're really trying to show you guys different recipes using hummus, based on hummus themed, all of that type of thing this week in our International Hummus Week. And also tomorrow evening you can find me on the Vegan Society's Instagram. So I've started doing this series of live recipes with them for their campaign on cheap vegan cooking. So I think the campaign is called Eat Vegan for Less. Eat Vegan for Less. So you can see more information about that on their website, on their campaign. But my recipe for tomorrow evening will be, it's a takeaway inspired one, which is great for a Friday night. Salt and pepper tofu. Yeah, it's going to be a good one. But as I said, it's an affordable recipe because they all have to be, fairly cheap. And that's the theme. So please join me for that. Nikki said the rumours are true. Great. I'm really looking forward to Nikki's recipe tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. Thank you to everyone on Facebook. And thank you to our new people on Instagram. Thank you. So I do hope that you guys make this recipe. We will be sharing the written recipe later on today in our community hub. So do check that out for written recipes, and also we are putting them onto our website, but we're doing that in batches. So if you've done one today, don't expect it to be on the website tomorrow. Maybe in a week or two, okay? Takes a lot of time, but we're getting there. Alex said I need a TV show. We do need a TV show. That's a great idea. Thank you for your company today, and thank you for being so blooming lovely and just being so obsessed about vegan food as much as we are and sharing that with us. Join us tomorrow for another show, and have, as always, a lovely day.